Hello there, and welcome to Brian's Not So Complicated Facts About the Sophisticated World show. Before we start, I would like to apologize for the sound qualities of this video, and because I have a terrible cold, I have a very cracky voice. As you remembered on the last show about the Silk Road, I stated that I will never make a show again. Well, I was lying. On today's show, we will be discussing about the notorious Black Death and its origins. In other countries, the Black Death is also known as the Black Plague or the bubonic plague. Let us begin by saying that the Black Death was one of the most devastating events in human history. Starting in the 1340s, the disease was first shown in Asia, then rapidly spread towards Europe and Africa. The Black Death has taken over 75 million lives across the world, and 50 million of those lives are in Europe alone. The Black Death was a type of bacterial disease caused by small rodents. In the 14th century, many theorized that the Black Plague was one of the God's punishments towards humanity, and as an example to show God's overwhelming might. But in reality, it was just a disease that spread across the Eastern Hemisphere. Symptoms of the Black Death include small ring-shaped marks with dark center spots on the arm or the neck area. Other symptoms may include high fevers, seizures, and headaches. Also, if left untreated, the infected will succumb to the disease. Because the 14th century was not a period of time where people had high hygiene standards or knowledge in medical practices, the chances of surviving the plague were very slim. Although this may sound disgusting, hygiene was not unimportant in the 14th century, but it was because commoners and nobles would rarely take baths. But when they do, the soap they use when they take a bath were made out of lye. Lies are very unhealthy for the skin. There was also no toothbrush or toothpaste in the 14th century, so whatever you ate will be stuck in your teeth forever. The clothes they wore while working or sleeping were not washed for days or even weeks. Lack of efficient health was shown because people did not have the nutrition needed to survive and were always vulnerable towards even the simplest diseases. Even before the plague, living at an old age was very uncommon due to the fact that people had very low hygiene standards. Therefore, the life expectancy of the 14th century was about the age 28 to 35. People would try to avoid the diseases by barricading themselves in their houses to keep away from the infected. They also carried flowers to block out the smell of the dying or the dead, and even tried to burn down the infected dead bodies to try to kill the disease. But overall, all the strategies have failed to succeed. Now let's talk about the origination of the Black Death. The Black Death originated in Asia, but it was not really exactly known where it actually started in. Here is a map that shows the basic spread of the disease. The Black Death later spread towards Europe through trade ships that sailed across the Black Sea. The first appearance of the plague in Europe was in the city Messina, Sicily, in October of 1347. As said before, the Black Death was spread across all over Europe and towards Africa. Enough about the movement of the plague. Now let's talk about a perspective of the Black Plague. What if someone was there to view the Black Plague? What are their incidents? What are their thoughts? What are their feelings? This selected excerpt shows the perspective of Plutarch, a close friend to a victim of the Black Death in the 14th century. It tells of his emotions toward the Black Death and how he despised the Black Death because it took away his best friend. To express his sadness towards this incident, Plutarch wrote a manuscript explaining when he first met his best friend, how beautiful she looked, and how her soul was truly made from heaven. These are one of the many perspectives that are caused by the Black Death, and how the Black Death caused pain and suffering towards people infected as well as not infected. Overall, the Black Death was a tragic event in human history. Today, the Black Death is still seen around the world, but is not vital towards humans because there are treatment and vaccinations to prevent further illness. With the help of nutritious resources and efficient hygiene uses, humans are now less vulnerable towards diseases than they were in the 14th century. Well, that's all for today's shows on the Black Death, but tune in never because I'll hopefully have to never make the show ever again. Remember to click the subscribe button because it makes me feel better about myself. In the 14th century, many lack of health and efficiency. My name is Brian, and I am a stutter machine. I love to stutter. What is my favorite pastime?